The stranger girl's blood is flowing into the dying billionaire CEO's veins. In a remote Scottish hospital, Rosie Fletcher lies on a gurney beside Edward Hartley, a man she's never met, as her rare golden blood transfuses directly into his body. He's dying from a catastrophic leukemia crisis, and she's the only person within 100 miles with the blood type that can save him. Edward, barely conscious, opens his eyes and sees Rosie's face. His hand reaches weakly for the silver locket around her neck, a locket he recognizes because he placed it there 25 years ago when he abandoned his newborn daughter outside a church. His lips move, whispering Rose. My Rose. Rosie, thinking he's hallucinating, squeezes his hand gently. You're going to be all right. I've got you. But something passes between them in that moment, an inexplicable connection neither understands yet. Their lives have just collided in a way that will change everything. Welcome back to Zenith Inspiring Stories. Have you ever felt an inexplicable connection to a complete stranger? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. Rosie is 24, a paramedic with the London Air Ambulance. When other paramedics say a situation is impossible, Rosie is the one they call. She's brilliant under pressure, but beneath her competence lies a loneliness she's carried her entire life. Rosie was abandoned as a baby, found outside St. Leonard's Church in Shoreditch on a freezing November night, wrapped in expensive cashmere with a silver locket around her tiny neck. Inside the locket, a photograph of a beautiful woman and a lock of dark hair. No note, no name. She grew up in a Hackney children's home, watching other kids get adopted while she remained on the outside looking in. She learned early that if your own parents didn't want you, why would anyone else? So she built walls, channeled everything into achievement. Top marks in school, youngest person ever recruited to the London Air Ambulance. She saves lives because perhaps, deep down, she's still trying to prove she was worth saving. That silver locket? She wears it every single day. Sometimes, late at night, she opens it and stares at the photograph, wondering, who were you? Why didn't you keep me? There's one crucial detail about Rosie. She has Rh-null blood, golden blood, one of the rarest blood types in the world. Only about 43 people globally have it. The blood bank staff call her the Golden Angel. She has no idea her blood is about to connect her to the one person she's been searching for her entire life. Now meet Edward Hartley, 53 years old, CEO of Hartley Pharmaceuticals. But Edward isn't your typical billionaire. He's a chemist who still works in the lab, known as the alchemist for his hands-on approach. He's saved thousands through his medications, donated millions to children's charities. On paper, he's a success story. But Edward is haunted by a choice he made 25 years ago. Flashback to young Edward, 28, a researcher at Oxford, deeply in love with Dr. Isabel Chun, a brilliant Chinese-British scientist. They married young, and when Isabel became pregnant, Edward was terrified and thrilled equally. But Edward's obsession with his research nearly destroyed them. He was working on a groundbreaking treatment, convinced he was months from a breakthrough. He worked 18-hour days, slept in the lab, missed appointments. Isabel begged him to slow down. He promised he would. Right after one final trial, the trial went catastrophically wrong. A participant died. Edward was cleared, but guilt consumed him. He spiraled, drinking heavily, pushing everyone away, including Isabel. When Isabel went into premature labor, Edward was passed out drunk in his lab. By the time colleagues found him, it was too late. Isabel had died from complications. Their daughter survived, tiny but healthy. Edward, shattered and convinced he was poison to everyone he loved, made a choice that would haunt him forever. He held his newborn daughter once, just once, looked into her eyes, and saw Isabel staring back. The guilt was unbearable. So he gave his baby to a social worker, left her Isabel's silver locket with her photograph inside, and walked away. He told them Isabel wanted to name her Rose. Then he disappeared into his work. For 25 years, Edward threw himself into building Hartley Pharmaceuticals. Every drug developed, every life saved was penance. He never married again, never had other children. He visited Rosie's children's home 3 times, when she was 5, 10, and 18, but never went inside. Just stood outside the gates and watched her, too cowardly to approach. He wrote her letters every birthday, 25 letters over 25 years, pouring out his love and regret. Never sent them. Kept them locked in a drawer. Edward has the same Rh-null blood as his daughter, a genetic rarity. 6 months ago, he was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. He's been treating it privately, accepting this as the punishment he deserves. Edward is in Scotland inspecting a research facility when his leukemia takes a catastrophic turn. He collapses, bleeding internally. His security rushes him to Inverness Hospital, but his Rh-null blood makes finding a donor nearly impossible. The hospital puts out an emergency call to the National Rare Blood Bank. And by pure chance, or fate, there's someone nearby. Rosie is in Scotland on a training exchange. When the National Blood Service calls at 11 p.m. with a critical situation, she doesn't hesitate. I'm 40 minutes away. Text me the address. She drives through dark Highland roads, touching her locket, a childhood habit before difficult calls. She has a strange feeling about this one. At the hospital, they explain. Critical patient, massive bleeding, leukemia crisis, minutes from death, direct transfusion needed. Let's go, Rosie says. They wheel her into the emergency room, and she sees him for the first time. Edward lies pale as death, monitors beeping frantically. As nurses connect her bloodstream to his, Rosie stares at his face. There's something familiar she can't name. The shape of his eyes, the line of his jaw. Like seeing someone she's known forever, but never actually met. Then Edward's eyes flutter open. Delirious, his gaze finds Rosie's face. His eyes widen with recognition, with seeing a miracle. His fingers brush her locket. Isabel, is that you? No, sir. I'm Rosie. You're confused. But Edward's fingers close around the locket, tears sliding down his cheeks. The locket. Rose. My Rose. Rosie takes his hand. I've got you. You're not alone. As her blood flows into his veins, something passes between them. Father and daughter connected for the first time in 25 years, though neither understands it yet. The transfusion stabilizes Edward, but he remains critical. Rosie should leave. Her part is done. But she can't walk away. Being near this man feels important in a way that defies logic. She volunteers to monitor his recovery. When Edward's delirious, he talks. Rambling confessions about Isabel, about a baby girl, about a choice that destroyed him. I'm sorry I left you. I wasn't strong enough. Please forgive me. When Edward finally wakes fully, 3 days later, he watches Rosie with an intensity that makes her uncomfortable. He asks careful questions about her life. Then he sees her locket clearly, and his entire body goes rigid. Where did you get that? It was with me when I was found. As a baby. Edward's hands tremble. Can I see it? Rosie hesitates, then unclasps her most precious possession, placing it in his palm. Edward opens it and sees the photograph. A sound escapes him, half sob, half gasp. Isabel. Oh God, Isabel. How do you know her name? She was my wife. This was her locket. I cut this lock of her hair before she died. The room tilts. Rosie grips the bed. That's impossible. This was with me when I was abandoned. 25 years ago. I know. Edward's voice breaks. I'm the one who left it with you. Silence. What are you saying? Edward looks at her with 25 years of regret. I'm saying you're my daughter, Rosie. And I'm the man who abandoned you. No. That's impossible. You're confused. Your birthday is November 15th. Born 3 weeks premature at St. Mary's Hospital. Your mother was Dr. Isabel Chun. She wanted to name you Rose. Rosie's legs give out. She sinks into the chair. Why? Because your mother died because of me. I was drunk, passed out of my lab, while she was in labor. By the time I got there, she was gone. I looked at you and knew I would fail you like I failed her. I thought you'd be better off without me. So you just left me? Rosie's voice rises with 25 years of pain. Do you have any idea what it's like? Growing up wondering why you weren't enough? Feeling unwanted, unlovable? You're right. I don't know. But Rosie, I didn't leave because you weren't enough. I left because I wasn't. Don't you dare tell me you loved me. You don't abandon people you love. You're right. But I thought about you every day. I visited your home 3 times, stood outside watching you grow. I wrote you letters every birthday. 25 years of words I was too broken to say. Rosie stands abruptly. I can't do this. She runs from the room. 2 days pass. Dr. Amara, Edward's physician, arrives from London. She finds Edward holding the locket, like it's the most precious thing in the world. The transfusion bought you time. Amara says carefully. But you need a bone marrow transplant. With your rare blood type, finding a match is impossible. Except, if Rosie is your daughter, she could save you. Again. No. I won't ask that of her. I've taken enough. Without a transplant, you have weeks. Then I have weeks. Rosie returns to London, visiting Mrs. Holloway, her former children's home director. A man came 3 times over the years, Patricia recalls. Never gave his name. Just stood outside and cried watching you. He gave you up because he loved you too much to risk failing you. Wrong, yes, but it came from love. Dr. Amara calls Rosie. Edward is dying. You're his only chance. He abandoned me. Yes, and he's paid for it every day. This is your choice. But if you don't do this, he'll die within weeks. Rosie spends 48 hours in agony. She thinks about all the strangers she saved as a paramedic. Why is this different? Because it's personal. Because it hurts. But mercy isn't about what people deserve. It's about what we choose to give. She calls Amara. I'll do it. At the hospital, Rosie faces Edward. I'll donate the bone marrow. But understand, I'm not doing this because you're my father or because I forgive you. I'm doing this because I'm a paramedic, and saving lives is what I do. What happens after is still to be determined. That's more than I deserve. Thank you. The tests confirm Rosie is a perfect match. The night before the transplant, Edward speaks to her. I wrote you letters every birthday. They're in my study. If something goes wrong, I need you to know. You were always with me. Why didn't you come back? Because I thought you were better off with the memory of a father who died than the reality of one who failed. Can you ever forgive me? Rosie realizes she already has. Not because he earned it, but because she chose it. I don't know what our relationship looks like, but I want the chance to try. The bone marrow donation is excruciating, but 3 days later, they know. Edward's body has accepted the transplant. He's going to live. During recovery, they talk. Edward tells her about Isabel. Rosie tells him about growing up, about becoming a paramedic. They read the 25 letters together and cry for the relationship that should have been. 6 months later, Edward is in remission. He's established the Isabel Chun Foundation for medical research and children in care. Rosie's joined the board. They have dinner every Sunday, building tradition 1 meal at a time. She calls him Edward now. Not Dad, not yet, but it's progress. He keeps her photograph on his desk, proudly telling colleagues, "My daughter." One evening, Edward gives her something, Isabel's original locket, worn from 25 years of holding. "Thank you," Rosie whispers. Later, in his study, comfortable silence between them, Rosie looks up from her medical journal. "You're my father," she says, the first time she's claimed him. "You made terrible choices, and we have a long way to go. But you're my father, and I'm your daughter, and we're going to figure this out together." Edward pulls her into their first real embrace. "I love you, Rose. I've loved you every day of your life." "I know. I'm starting to understand that now." They stand there, father and daughter, connected by blood and choice, by pain and healing, by the hardest kind of love, the kind rebuilt from ruins. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to Zenith Inspiring Stories. Tell me in the comments, do you believe love can survive our worst mistakes? Can we forgive the unforgivable? Until next time, remember, it's never too late to choose grace, and it's never too late to become the family you were always meant to be.